Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Equine Episode Examination, where today we will finally be discussing Three's a Crowd, the Season 4 Discord episode. So, thank you for joining us. We were supposed to do this last week, but due to some technical difficulties with our chat during it, we had to push it back a week. So, we're going to finally be getting to that this week. So,
it's really funny considering how this is a Discord episode and we had all that issues last week. So
yeah.
it's just very apropos.
I'll bet not with Discord though. Although yesterday we had problems with Discord for This Week in Pony. So
John Delancey working overtime, I see.
So, anyway, if you're new to Equine Episode Examination, welcome. Pretty much we're just going to discuss the episode, give our thoughts on it, opinions on it, and kind of just maybe lightly analyze it, starting with more general terms and going to more specific things about the episode. Once we get to the new season, we'll be doing this for the new episodes. And if you're watching this from our recording, we do this show live on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And so if you want to stop on by and participate in the chat during it, the live chat, I guess come over to CinemaQuestria.com and you can chat along and give your opinions. So, it's kind of a two-way street, so it's not just us talking. And everyone can kind of give their opinions on everything. So, yeah, with that introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and just get right to it and get to Three's a Crowd and sort of what are everyone's initial thoughts on the episode?
John Delancey's kind of got a good not singing voice, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah.
Remember, kids,
I think you get cut off there, Matt.
I really loved a lot of the little throwbacks that they had, references that of this particular episode, especially during the song again. John Delancey's little, or not John, Discord's little, I'm mistaking the character for the freaking actor, but basically I'm thinking back to Discord's little costumes where he was doing the Harry Potter one, he was doing the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas one. Just little things.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep, you're good now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just a little
I'll
hiccup.
try and say what I was trying to say then. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is by proxy a Discord episode, but it's as much as Twilight and Cadence episode, and it's nice to actually see Cadence for freaking once. Other than really how I see how Pinkie Pie acts in the episode, which is something I dare say we will get to eventually when we talk about characters, I really enjoy this episode. It's a fun episode. It's not perfect in any way. Hell, even Daniel Ingram had reservations over how the song came out, which I'm sure we'll obviously talk more about later on.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
this was
about the mixing of the song.
This was the one that Daniel Ingram wasn't 100% happy with, wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
It wasn't the song itself. It was the final mix of the song in the episode had the lyrics. I think it's been so long, but I think the lyrics were drowned out.
In a later release.
I can't remember. I can't even remember what the problem was. I remember it was some final mix problem with the vocals were too soft or too loud or something like that.
I don't even know if later releases actually fixed it or not.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure.
I can't even check because I don't remember what it was. I remember that I did fix it when I did rip the song, so I think it was a volume related problem. Yeah, but it's been so long. Yeah, I mean, this is a Discord episode. It's nothing like narratively, I guess, great or anything, but it's just kind of one of those Discord episodes that's just an excuse for them to kind of do some stuff wacky and put some references in and just have a little fun with the character. It was a very enjoyable episode in a lot of ways in terms of the comedy and the humor. That was definitely the main part of
I
this
don't remember
episode
who
is
wrote
the
the
comedy
episode
and the home. This episode is Ed Valentine. This is his second episode that he wrote.
Ah, right, yes.
Um,
Didn't Megan have a story by credit for this?
probably I didn't check, but probably.
I know, because this sort of not only does that, but it also very lightly started sort of a very small arc with Fluttershy and the Breezies, as well.
Yeah.
So we actually learn that, and then we learn the amazing news that Pinkie Pie has before in the cold opening as well. Was it chairs or something? I can't remember.
It was slightly used patio furniture.
That's right. I knew it was something to do with chairs. I was like, oh, great, wonderful. To be fair, like I say, Pinkie Pie is probably the minor weak point of the episode, but really, it's nothing major. It's just I just found it a little too stupid by Pinkie Pie standards. I mean, her being bizarre in the cold opening was fine. I mean, that was totally Pinkie Pie, but yeah. But other than that, I mean, it was just nice to see more character interaction between two characters we don't see a lot of interactions with. I mean, it's something that like I say, I mean, we know that. I mean, really and truthfully, Cadence we know very little about. I mean, we know she obviously helped look after Twilight when she was a filly, and we know that she's married to Shining Armor, and that's kind of it. We really don't know a great deal about her, but especially by the point of this episode. So, yeah, I mean, it was nice to see more of her, although we didn't really get a lot of backstory for her, I guess, or anything like that, or anything really too in depth. But it was just nice to have her there. I mean, it was just nice to have another character that we have not, that's considered, a major character in the sense of, she's one of the princesses of Equestria, and yet we see like very little of her. Admittedly, there's a story reason for that. Obviously with her with the Crystal Empire, but it was a nice thing to see. Let's just say that.
Okay, let's go ahead. We'll go into the story and the writing of the episode here, and like I mentioned earlier, this that hurt. This is the second episode. Someone's mic is getting some major feedback.
It's my phone.
Not mine.
Stop doing that, stupid thing. Stop buzzing.
Okay, so, I mentioned before, this episode was written by, a second episode written by Ed Valentine, with story by Megan McCarthy, for it. So, what does everyone think about the story and the writing in this episode?
That's what I think of the episode.
In terms of the actual story, it's fairly simple, really, in terms of the story, but that's not really the main crutch. It's like the character interactions and how they...
And humor, too. There are good things and everything. What the fuck was
What the
that?
hell?
I don't know what that was. J.E.'s possessed! Run! Matt, go ahead and continue with what you're saying.
I'm scared to talk now.
I think Discord is
Why do you
invaded
think
the
I've been
chat.
keeping my mic muted?
Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, like I say, the character interactions were sort of, really good between sort of obviously the way Discord played off a lot of characters. The only characters I found a bit off was obviously Pinkie Pie, which I've already mentioned, and the thing I found is that she was. I think this is a problem we see quite often with Pinkie Pie when she's not like a main character to a story. She's boiled down to sort of the very basic parts of her personality in here. She is very simplified to the point of just being distracted by very simple things. And while we've seen her do that to a degree, I just found it a bit much that she could be that distracted. But I mean, what was in that? I mean, if it must have been something really exciting about that red balloon. Perhaps there was candy inside it or something, or money. You know, I can't quite understand what the obsession she had over just a red balloon, to be brutally honest. But the character that kind of irked me a little bit more was Rainbow Dash, because she showed absolutely no loyalty whatsoever to her other friends by just basically ditching them with Discord. I mean,
we might want to save that for the character discussion.
I know that Rainbow has previous of basically wanting virtually nothing to do with Discord, which, you know, fair enough. But that just irked me a little bit. I mean, obviously, she wasn't important to the story, so I'm not gonna because, to be fair, the episode does do. It's funny, the episode doesn't do very much in terms of story, in terms of lore or anything, but it does do a lot with characters. I mean, there is a hell of a lot. It's quite jam packed. I mean, hell, there's even a reasonable amount with Applejack and Rarity. And hell, even, you know, Fluttershy is briefly around for a bit as well, obviously about the Breezies and that. So it's quite a loaded episode in that regard. But I think obviously the key thing was obviously the dynamic with Cadence and Twilight, and obviously them two with Discord, and in that regard, I think the episode does do that very, very well. And well, John Delancey is just, you know, fantastic. I mean, he delivers the lines that are given to him just brilliantly well.
I think story-wise, one of the things I really enjoyed about this episode is kind of how it and this probably speaks to Megan McCarthy's involvement with the episode, and that's how it sets up the Breezy episode, obviously, going forward, with Fluttershy visiting the Breezes in this episode, and that comes back a little later this season, as the Breezes kind of fly through Ponyville. So it's a nice kind of like little setup for something later in the season. But more than just that, it's not just setting up the future episode, it's actually using that as a reason to get Fluttershy out of the picture for this episode. Because really, this episode can't happen if Fluttershy is around. This whole thing is Fluttershy is out of the picture. What happens when Discord comes in and tries to mess with the rest of the main six? So it was a nice way of sort of getting her out of the episode for the right at the beginning, to kind of set up the rest of what happens in it. There's also some nice lamp shading going on when we're at the beginning, right before Cadence arrives, when they are talking about sort of their past, Cadence's past involvement in previous episodes, where they say the fate of Equestria has hung in the balance during most of your visits, which is just a very funny little thing of lamp shading there in terms of Cadence's involvement in past episodes. You could say potentially that Technotron, in terms of Discord. Of course, this is our first, really our first episode with Discord as a centerpiece since his reformation. He was in the 2-part premiere, obviously, but this is really the first episode where he's given a major focus. And of course, from this season onward, Discord has gotten pretty much 2 episodes a season, give or take, to him, to himself. In terms of just being centered in some way around him, and that's kind of like the pattern that the series has gotten itself into from the season on. So this is kind of his first foray into that.
I think the other thing is I'm slightly disappointed in this, although I'm glad that they've done like more than just this with Discord. I was seriously thinking that they were going to move Discord into sort of position of basically being like a troll teacher to Twilight. Much like how Q was sort of, a bit of a troll to, but also teaching lessons to Picard. I was hoping that was kind of what they were going to be sort of positioning Discord as, sort of not all the time, obviously. And there's still a case that they could well do that from time to time, but they seem to sort of fall away a little bit after this episode because he was supposedly teaching. This is massive quotation marks I'm using here. Lessons for Twilight, much like he did in the premiere of this. Obviously, this is in the Discord way, of course. But I mean, it's been a bit sort of meandery with Discord. He's sort of been sort of doing this and that, and that's fine with me because, to be honest, Discord is one of those characters that you just want on the screen, and you want as much. There's no denying that, but that by that token, he's just so entertaining to watch. You don't really care why he's there. Really, I mean, it's finale, so it's they use him for. It's always entertaining
and they kind of have used him a couple of times as sort of that weird teacher role for Twilight, not only in this premiere but also in season 5, the episode "What About Discord," which was another Twilight and Discord centered episode where he did something similar with that, trying to teach her a lesson in kind of his own way of teaching there.
Would Twilight's personal hell would be being flatmates with Trixie and Discord? Would that be Twilight's personal hell?
I mean, it's not too far off after the season finale last season. Maybe Discord and Trixie move into the castle with Starlight. And you just start playing the Odd Couple music. Dun, 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 dun. I'd watch it. Yeah, it had some nice callbacks and semi sort of backstory to not backstory, more stuff about Star Swirl in it, where this convention. So we see a bunch of people there dressed up as Star Swirl, including Twilight herself, and also see some artifacts and some different historical ramblings on him at the beginning of the episode there.
Yes, we learnt that Twilight is a nerd. Oh, hang on, we didn't really learn anything then.
But yeah, as mentioned, this episode's a little light on terms of stuff to really discuss for the story. It's a Discord episode. It's very much focused on humor with a little bit of
tangentially. I think it's as much about Twilight and Cadence as it is Discord this episode, personally. But Discord is obviously, because he steals so many scenes, he's obviously the thing you're going to remember the most from any particular episode.
Well, he's the crux. What I mean is he's the crux of the episode. I mean, he's the whole reason this episode's really happening at all here. Yeah. I mean, I really, it's very much involved in terms of character development for Twilight and Cadence, but I still consider this at its core a Discord episode. Just being what happens, and he's kind of the driving force behind the entire episode.
Although what's funny about this episode, in the way it's structured, you wouldn't realise it's a Discord episode, even after if you didn't read anything up previously about the episode or anything, and just watched it on the day, you wouldn't have realised it was a Discord episode until a good few minutes in, because he doesn't appear until after the opening credits, I believe, and even then, sort of a minute or two after that.
Yeah, they kind of have to get Fluttershy out of the picture and sort of set up where Twilight is going and get Twilight and Cadence both in the episode and out of the picture before Discord can even show up. So it's quite a few minutes before he makes his appearance there.
And that's not like I said, that's not a critical failing of the episode. It's just how the episode worked out. I mean, like you say, there was quite a lot of things that, because it's funny with season 4, it's an episode that very much ties in from sort of from the first to the last. It's probably the most where they're all the episodes sort of fit in into a timeline much more, whereas like say season 1 or 2 to a most of a degree, admit it's not 100%, you could watch the episodes in more or less any order and you wouldn't really lose out in any way, whereas with season 4 it feels very much that you should really watch from the start to end to get the real full picture.
I will say that season 7 also is very strong. With you really need to watch season 7. I'm from the future. I mean, season 6 was very much a season that you needed to what?
Spoil the season for me now. Forever.
What I meant is, I think season 6 was also another season where you really had to kind of watch it in order, because there's a lot of overarching plot and characters introduced, or in different episodes, and events that happen in episodes that are referenced in later episodes, like Rainbow Dash earlier in the season becoming kind of a full-fledged Wonderbolt. That's referenced many times later in the season. So it would be kind of a surprise if you watch some of those out of order. So I think season 7 is... I keep saying season 7. Season 6 is another season that is very...
You're just too excited for season 7 that you just expect it to have just gone past already.
No, the problem is season 8 has already been announced, so I keep saying like the latest season.
By John Delancey, no less.
I keep saying, oh, it's the latest new season, then subtract 1, and that's what I have been saying. But now that season 8's, it doesn't work. My mind isn't working like that anymore, so I keep going back to season 7. But no, there's too many seasons; they all blend together now.
I wouldn't say they burn together. I'd say each season's pretty distinct, but that's for another time. So I think the in terms of the writing, I like that. It's funny that the episode very much had a very different sort of. At the beginning, it's sort of very. There's obviously a bit of like forward thinking with obviously the things like the breezies and stuff like that, and then sort of in the middle of the episode it's a lot more sort of character interaction-y, and then at the very end of the episode we have the action scene where Twilight and Cadence take on, I can never remember the name,
Tatzelworm
creature. That's it, the Tatzelworm, thank you, which arguably is probably the least it's probably the character that the design, at least, is sort of the least what I would expect to see in a show that was aimed for little girls, because it's, I wouldn't say it's terrifying in any way, but it's creepy as fuck.
Worms are pretty creepy sometimes. Anything worm based.
It also doesn't help that it just sort of comes out of freaking nowhere too, just like right out from left field.
Which, to be fair, considering it's a Discord episode, does fit the theme pretty well.
Here's Wormy.
A worm up, oh. Boo. Boo. Please. So also the flower that they needed as well, the fucking size of it was like huge.
Let's see, anything else story-wise that anyone has to discuss before we move on? I don't really have much more. It's pretty, not much to discuss in story. Because we can move next to the characters and characterization in the episode. So I think this episode's really, it's light on story. It's very, very heavy on humor and visual gags, being it's a Discord episode. But it also is a little bit heavier also on characters in terms of slight character development, or at least character exploration. Being that we haven't really seen much of Discord yet in the series at this point. And of course we haven't seen a lot of Cadence as well this season either, or up at this point either. I will get the elephant out of the in the room out of the way with I completely forgot till I rewatched it today that Flash Sentry shows up in this just to taunt the fans.
But he does nothing. But it also proves that Equestria Girls is fucking canon. No matter how many the haters may not like it, it is canon. Tangentically. At the very least, there is a Flash at the very least, there is a Flash Sentry in Equestria as well as in the Equestria Girls universe.
Hey, he gives a little look to Twilight as he walks away, so...
Yeah, he's probably going, I wish I had that ass. I'm now imagining Flash Sentry with a really, like, gangster kind of voice now.
And meanwhile, Megan McCarthy is just there on the sidelines watching, going, yes, I feed on your anger. Yes.
Isn't that Josh Haber now?
You mean M.A. Larson?
Every time Starlight appears in an episode, it just makes Josh Haber stronger.
Oh, you didn't like Starlight? Well, guess what? We're gonna make the next premiere focus around her too.
We ain't gonna have a main six. We're just gonna have her as the main character.
The season 7 premiere pops on, and it's just.
And you know what? As much as I'm probably gonna get shit for saying this from certain quarters, if they did that, I'd still watch the show, and I'd still probably find it just fine. I've got nothing against them if they wanted to do that. I mean, if they want to change the direction of the show, I mean, I certainly wouldn't be against it. You know, it's been going on long enough where I feel that, you know, mixing things up is certainly not a bad thing.
Season 7's premiere starts, and it's just a picture of Haber giving you the middle finger for 22 minutes.
No, I was just going to say they just superimposed M.A. Larson into the world, and basically just goes around giving every pony wings except for Twist. Fuck Twist.
That'd be a great villain. And then when everyone's a princess, then no one will be.
No one
Brilliant.
Special. And he'll turn into G3 princess property. You're a princess. I'm a princess. Everyone's a princess.
Princess.
No, the real villain's Generation 3 Spike.
I don't know. Generation 3.5 or 3.6 Scootaloo might give him a run for his money.
Yeah, but G3 twat and I hate him.
Yeah, I believe.
If you didn't tell, I don't like Princess Promenade very much.
Yeah, Radio Doug. I think it was Megan McCarthy that specifically said on Twitter that don't worry, Flash isn't going to be in the season at all. And then when that moment happened, she got on Twitter and said, "Oh, Jake, I forgot about that. LOL," or something like that. Totally trolling everyone. They put him in there just because of that.
I'm disappointed that the 100th episode didn't actually have him as one of the center characters. That would have
been the main character.
Yeah.
We did this episode for the fans, and then just have Flash Sentry as the main character.
He could have been the love interest for Derpy. That would have really pissed people off.
Oh, I don't know. I could get behind that.
Hey, I'd ship it.
If it fits, it ships. Okay, back to character discussion. This was being that this was really the first extended interaction we really had with Discord after his reformation. We really kind of hammered the point home that we saw in the opening two-parter for this season as well. Kind of seeing what reformed actually means for him, and kind of seeing that he's still very much kind of a trickster, even if he isn't evil, using his magic for downright evil kind of things. He still has that very tricksterish nature to him.
He's just a troll. He's just a massive troll.
Yeah,
especially to Twilight.
I was going to use the term massive dick, but that sounds wrong out of context.
It's still accurate.
He's nice to watch.
I think one of my favorite things about this episode that we saw a little bit of in the opening two-parter, and we see in later episodes and in subsequent seasons as well, is I just really love the interaction between Discord and Twilight, as you know, being the leader of the group that defeated him the first time, and now they're trying to be this like odd couple of sort of, you know, trying to be friends. And I just love how they play off of each other in this episode, and the back and forth banter that they have with each other. Just, you know, it brings out a lot of very sassy sort of sarcasm and Twilight's answers, while, you know, Discord spends the entire episode just sort of egging her on and just poking and prodding her to just see how far he can sort of mess with her.
Which is basically what the song basically... The song may well be about him wanting a glass of water, but what it really is just how far he can push... It's just a massive troller just to see how far he can push Cadence and Twilight. Basically, it's a song where he's pushing his luck further and further.
You're, Yes, some songs might set up plots, some songs might express a character's inner feelings, some songs might introduce you to a location or a character, and some songs are just massive trolls.
I love the imagery in the song, though. The song itself may have had issues in terms of production in the broadcast, but the actual all the imagery and everything that goes on in that song is just fucking fantastic.
Yeah, and this episode is also just really interesting, just again from a character standpoint with Discord. I guess it's, you know, it's a wacky, funny episode, but there is some deeper kind of character things that we can pull from it, and it's just interesting to sort of look at Discord's thinking, especially when we get to the end of the episode after they bring the flower to him, and he's surprise, he's not really sick. But he just really seems to be actually somewhat concerned, even if he doesn't want to admit it to himself, if Twilight is actually considers him her friend or not. And pretty much does all of this sort of thing to just kind of test and see like how much she would actually do for him, and gets to the point at the end of the episode where he's actually really excited that like they literally travel to the ends of Equestria to try and help him with his weird illness thing.
I still get the feeling that Twilight tolerates him rather than is necessarily best buddies.
Oh, I never said that, especially at this point.
Yeah, but I don't know at any point, to be honest. I think he gets way under her skin for that. I mean, it's a bit like, do I ever expect Trixie and Twilight to ever be best bosom buddies? Probably not, but you know, I at the very least I expect to see sort of a bit, particularly between like Trixie and Twilight. I do expect to see some kind of mutual respect at least.
But all this does come into play and build up towards the finale for this season as well, which this episode sort of directly plays into. Where in that episode in the finale, of course, we see Twilight get T-Rex not only to release her friends, but also release Discord, included as one of her friends as well. And of course, Discord is actually very touched by that in that episode, and that winds up giving her the key because of that, and learns a lesson about friendship himself there.
I do like the idea that Fluttershy and Discord write to each other. You know what? If they write to each other quite often, I'd love to see those published as a book sometime in the future or something. That'd be quite fun to read, I reckon. But all of Discord's parts are like a pop-up book or something.
Mm-hmm. I would also say that one of the other feelings that I get from Discord in this episode, seems legitimately jealous that Twilight is spending time with Cadence and not with him. Like, of all the people that Twilight's going to try and, you know, maybe make time with, that someone that she doesn't get to hang out with that often, he seems very jealous that she went, you know, and is hanging out with Cadence rather than maybe trying to spend time with her new quote-unquote friend that was just reformed and that helped her in the season premiere. And it really seems like he's sort of all jealousy. he seems to have planned, very obviously that he's planned all of this out beforehand. Like he's obviously not really sick, and he already obviously knew that Fluttershy wasn't going to be there, and he also obviously knew because of Fluttershy's letters that Twilight was going to be hanging out with Cadance. So it's all very deliberate in what he's been doing in the episode.
I just like the idea that Discord has the thinking tree. And knowing Discord,
you mean
it's a tree
Fluttershy?
that literally thinks for itself.
I thought Fluttershy was his thinking tree.
Well, I would get more angry, but hey, at least you're saying she's reasonably smart, so hey. Well, for a tree, anyway.
Yeah, there's some funny dialogue like that between them. Radio, it's like, oh, you never visit me and stuff. It's like, I don't even know where you live.
Surely she could have asked Fluttershy, just because she was able to write to him. That's actually a good question that I've just posed. Surely, if they didn't know, they could have asked Fluttershy.
But I mean,
Fluttershy doesn't know
the point.
either, and he sends the letters magically or something. I don't know. That is a little bit unexplained. Not that it's a real big issue or anything.
Well, I don't think it's an issue at all. I mean, the point was never that Twilight was ever even making an attempt to visit him. She was just kind of using that. She was just using that as a defense.
Where he actually was, so they could reach, so that they could reach him.
I mean, it was all part of her response to Discord saying, "You never even visit." And she's like, "I don't even know where you live." It wasn't that Twilight was ever trying to, but she was just using that as a defense. Like, I don't even know where you live. How can I come to visit you?
I mean, how did we know? How did we know that he lived in his own little pocket dimension?
Of course, we've seen that that male ponies, at least Fluttershy might not even know exactly where he lives. He might know what it's called. We've seen that the male ponies are able to get there though from subsequent episodes.
They never get to leave though. They get to go there. They just never get to leave. That's why Derpy is now having to work like triple shifts.
It all makes sense. Oh yeah, and yeah, definitely DM12. We definitely see that kind of jealousy that he develops a lot farther in next season's Lose Friends But Keep Discord.
Well, particularly when Fluttershy obviously has another friend. How dare she have another friend?
That's something Matt says every day.
Trees. Quiet, you. You know what I've been saying the past couple of weeks? I need more time to play Zelda, and have my Fluttershy plushie whilst playing Zelda.
The reason why Matt isn't that far in the game is he just spends his entire time riding on a horse that he's named Fluttershy, and that's it. Just ride it around.
Yeah, as opposed to me, who's like deliberately just wandering around, deliberately searching around out shrines.
Well, to be fair, I like climbing up every tree because it's like I'm climbing Fluttershy, but Rain Shadow likes climbing up every tree because he gets to pick all the apples.
They're the easiest food to get. And they're delicious.
All it proves is that apple shy shipping would certainly work.
Character-wise, we talked a lot about Discord. How about Cadance? Is there anything that anyone wants to bring up about her in this episode?
Surprisingly, a huge nerd, just as much as Twilight is.
I guess she would have to be somewhat one if she was gonna marry Shining Armor.
Well, he's a dork.
know the difference.
I mean, it's
true.
You know, I know a lot of his characterization comes from the comics, but it seems that even in the show he's quite close to that at least. So we can make the safe assumption that he's a dork. But yeah, I mean, it seems to me that nerdiness seems to run in Twilight's family. I wouldn't be a shock. It wouldn't be a shock to find out if her like parents were like nerds as well when they were younger. But yeah, I mean, I don't know whether Cadence is necessarily a full-on nerd, but she's she's highly intelligent enough to be able to carry herself just fine with the likes of Twilight. And I think she's probably too nice to not really want to but burst her bubble in any way. And I think genuinely, yeah, I think she is just as much of a nerd really deep down. She just may not necessarily show it quite as much.
She seems to have a nick for she at least in this episode she wants to get up and, like, as she expresses at the end of the episode, like, she doesn't want to be sitting around and doing nothing like she had been doing in the Empire. It was nice to get out and do something.
So in other words, she's basically a Disney princess, but unlike some Disney princesses, she's a lot more proactive.
I like how the episode implies that shining armor isn't giving her enough excitement back in the kingdom.
Well, look, that can't be true later on.
It's just the same old every day. It feels great to get out of the kingdom and do something else.
Perhaps Equestria doesn't have the Kama Sutra.
Not even gonna go there.
Well, she is the Princess of Love. Perhaps she wrote it. In Equestria, she just got bored of it, having sex every day.
Oh God. Gotta spread love somehow.
The thing I like is that even though she isn't like lovey-dovey in any sort of way, really, she's just a character all of her own, rather than being sort of like a pony version of Cupid, say, where she's sort of constantly trying to do matchmaker. Although I would find it absolutely hilarious for her to set up like a blind date with like ponies, just random selections, and they like go horribly wrong. That would be quite a fun episode to watch.
Yeah, it must have gotten pretty exciting when she got back, though, because we got that baby coming next season. I guess Cadence just gets bored of playing the healer all the time. It was nice seeing also a continuation of their sort of course, their little sunshine greeting that they have with the with each other between her and Twilight. And even though it kind of does get a little more actiony in the end of the episode, it was nice having at least part of an episode that revolves around Cadence and that isn't. I mean, it isn't like action based, because look back at the previous episodes where, in her first appearance in Canterlot Wedding, for most of that two-parter, we're not even interacting with Cadence herself, or it's Chrysalis disguised as Cadence. And then for the entire season 3 opener, she spends a lot of that opener like about to faint trying to cast this spell to protect the Crystal Empire from Sombra. And so we don't get a lot of interaction, a ton of interaction with her in that episode either. So it is nice here having really an episode where we get to have more interaction with her that isn't just her fighting all the time or casting a spell the entire time.
We learn little tidbits like she's not used to flying. She hasn't been flying very much lately because when they were flying Discord to the location of the flower, Twilight was asking how she was getting on, and she said, "Yeah, I've not flown very much lately, so this is tough."
Based on her seeming very bored with how things were going in the Crystal Empire and being out of practice flying, it seems like she's just been hanging in the castle doing boring princess stuff since the season 3 premiere. So not getting out and flying or really doing anything else.
Sounds a bit like Celestia's day-to-day life, basically. Except at least Cadence gets to have shining in the bedroom in the evenings, where poor Celestia is just on her own.
Yeah, but Cadence can send people to the moon when she's bored, though. So, I mean, Celestia can send people to the moon when she's bored.
Yeah, but then she can't toy with them. At least this is why I like Discord. The people he doesn't like, he can just like mess with their heads. That's infinitely more fun. I still want to see a Discord and Celestia episode, though. That'll just be fun, just from start to finish. I think that would be great.
They definitely seem to have an interesting kind of repertoire between the two of them. Between what we see in Make New Friends But Keep Discord and in the season 4 finale. Definitely seems to she seems to enjoy his presence in some way. We all know that Celestia is a troll as well in some ways, so seem to get along in that respect. How about Twilight? That's about really the only other really major character in the episode to discuss. How about her characterization in the episode?
Twilight's pretty much just as standard as everything.
I was going to say, hey Rain, did you know that Twilight's a big nerd? Because I didn't.
Personally, with me, what I liked most about Twilight in this episode is just, again, the interaction with Discord just brings out a lot of just sarcasm and like sass and a lot of stuff she does and a lot of her responses.
Why do I imagine that the sarcastic nature that Spike gets, he actually got from Twilight?
Probably. Because Twilight can be very friendly,
because he was probably being a baby dragon. He probably does what he's like a little brother kind of thing to Twilight. I can imagine when he gets under her skin as well, she gets like sarcastic like she was with Discord, and I can imagine that's sort of rubbed off on Spike. Yeah,
Twilight can be very friendly, but if you get under her skin or she doesn't like you for some reason, that personality changes. Just we see it with Discord, we see it with Trixie. It completely kind of changes her attitude towards you. And really, that kind of sarcasm and sass was not just with Twilight, but the rest of the main 6 also had a lot of that. You get a lot from Rainbow Dash and Applejack and Rarity's interactions with Discord as well. They obviously still don't trust him at all in this episode, and just make sarcastic comments to everything he says at the beginning of the episode there.
I mean, I think the other thing we sort of start seeing is obviously we see really that, whilst people may have thought, oh, perhaps he's trying to manipulate Fluttershy for like further down the road, it seems that this is sort of the start where we genuinely see that he actually genuinely cares about it, and that it's actually a genuine friendship that they actually have. It's probably the most like if you'd have told me like at the beginning of after season 2 had started, after Return of Harmony, that by the way, Fluttershy and Discord, they're going to be pretty close to besties. I'll be like, okay, I'd love to see how that happens, and yet here we are.
Yeah, and even though we obviously don't see them interact directly in the episode, just based on the letters and sort of what Discord says, it does give a nice kind of characterization, just sort of how their relationship has progressed since we last saw Discord. That, you know, he really does generally view her as a friend and you know, care what he thinks, even if he is still his mischievous self around the others. Anything else for characters or characterization discussion? Okay. We can move on to the voice acting. Was there anything that stood out for the voice acting in the episode that anyone wants to mention?
Well, the big dominating thing is we get to hear John's "My life is complete." Sing quotation marks.
Okay. Sorry, I had to run away for a second. Anything else for voice acting? So we'll move on to the biggest one. This is, I mean, like I mentioned, this is the biggest part of the episode, and that would be the humor. As with any Discord episode, lots of humor. So, what does everyone think about the humor? Other than this episode was absolutely fucking hilarious.
Well, even though Pinky was a little dumb, she did have some weird situations going on with her. Like, for example, her idea of the best piece of mail ever being a sale on old patio furniture, with said furniture being busted up mess.
Yeah, Pinky can always see the good in in stuff like that.
Let's say, then we mentioned before with Rarity's just extremely casual delivery of just how noted just Equestria's just been on the fate, hung in the balance during every time we've seen you, regarding cadence. The Discord himself is just, takes the cake, and like pretty much anytime he sneezes, just silly things happen, like a house just floating away in the background, lamppost sprouting legs, tipping its cap and just walking off. and then he even asked for a fading couch when everyone just looks straight at Rarity too.
She's like, what?
I don't have one of those now.
I don't keep one of those stored all around Ponyville in case of fainting emergencies.
Well, you know that Pinkie Pie keeps like balls for ball emergencies, but Rarity keeps fainting couches for fainting couch for emergencies.
Mm-hmm. I also really liked, of course, Twilight geeking out at the start about the Star Swirl Museum, and you're like, spoiler alert! That was really cute.
But I mean, the song there's just so much freaking imagery in it, and so many references, like Weekend at Bernie's. Trying to think. They just go by so quick, though. It's just
Vera Loving in Las Vegas, the Harry Potter reference.
Yeah. Pretty much, I wrote down everything during the song because there's literally just so much to talk about. It's like way too much for us to even consider like talking about all of it, and they jam pack so many references into that song. It's ridiculous. Like Jay said, there's the Harry Potter one with all three of them dressed up in the Harry Potter wizarding clothing. There's the episode. The song ends with that Star Wars poster spoof as well.
Oh god, yeah.
Funny enough, if you looked really closely with the Hogwarts stuff that they were wearing for that little particular issue, Twilight of all people winds up being in Gryffindor and not Ravenclaw like you would think she would be. But then again,
I mean, yeah, but no, I could see her. I mean, keep in mind Hermione was also in Gryffindor, and she was very much. I think Twilight's closer to her than anyone else.
You have a point.
I have literally no idea what you're talking about, knowing nothing about Harry Potter.
How have you not read Harry Potter or seen Harry Potter, even the movies?
It's just never. I've never seen a film all the way through, either.
Wow. Read the books. They're so much better than the films.
The film, I love the films, but the books include so much more. You got to read the books.
Yeah,
we'll wait, Matt. We're just gonna wait here until you read the books. We're just gonna wait.
I've still got M.A. Larson's book to read. I've still got 2 more of the Daring Do books to read.
We'll wait here. We'll wait here while you finish. Oh, that's a bag that Spike's holding in that picture. For some reason, it looked like he was snorting cocaine when I saw it out of the corner of my eye.
What's funny is I've read all the Guardians of Gahul books, though, but not any of the Harry Potter books. Am I weird?
I've heard of like the movie, but I've never heard of anything else regarding that series.
The movie is shit, but then again, it's Zack Snyder, so what did you expect? But no, the books are fantastic. But then again, if the movie had been accurate to the books, the film would have been rated at least R, because it'd been like a lot of violence, because it's actually quite violent for a young adult book.
Oh, speaking of Discord and underwear, at the beginning of the episode where he's pushing around the little hospital thing, and he's in the hospital gown. At one point, he turns around and bends over, and all of the ponies just kind of cover and avert their eyes during it. It's pretty funny. Even though of course he doesn't wear clothes. None of them wear clothes. Also, speak on the comments of the voice acting as well. We're already screaming "Duck" at the very beginning when Discord first arrives. Very very unladylike scream.
To be honest, Pinky's like, that's not a duck.
The thing is, Rarity says how much of a lady she is, but when the chips are down, she can be just as unladylike as anyone else.
Or when Discord's giving them all the hug and like saying, "Oh, you'll all take care of me," and Rainbow Dash is just like, "Not it," and flies away like at supersonic speeds.
All right, yourself out of the hips.
I'd love to see an episode where Rainbow Dash is forced into having to interact more with Discord, because I don't think she's gonna like that very much.
Oh, there's also the in the song the TSA part where they have Discord going through the airport security checkpoint with the pony and the braces in the background. That's looking very concerned about going through the metal detector. And yeah, we mentioned Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but there's also the Risky Business one, which is the outfit at the end where Discord is in his underwear there at the end. That's a shout out to Risky Business there.
There's also a bit of a meta thing that's actually kind of funny where Discord has that sort of pendant, that friendship pendant with him and Twilight on there. And it got remade in real life in like 15 hours.
I love that pendant in the 2 parts, and you can see Discord, they slap together the other parts, and his thumb is over Twilight's face. The comedic timing of that scene is so perfect. And of course, Twilight just has this expression like, seriously. Also, the Tatzelworm gave off a loud Wilhelm scream when he died. Or I guess when it was defeated. I
was just going to say, after the Tatzelworm thing, when they find out that that Discord was faking it. Just the reaction from just the looks on the faces of Cadence and Twilight is like, yeah, I don't think you'd want to be Discord right about now.
And of course, how the episode ends as well with Discord being like, "Can I just trouble you for one more thing?" And Twilight just instantly screams, "No,
no, no!
You're a princess of friendship, everyone. Fuck off." That'd be the perfect ending to just Twilight going, "Fuck off, Discord," storming out of the room.
He to be fair though, he got his just desserts because he actually ended up getting sick.
But he's still messing with him as he's sick too. Oh,
well, of course he's Discord.
There was so much more during the song, but I didn't even write it all down just because there's too much. It was it's one of those things where you really have to go back, like with a video file of it, and pause during it because you miss so much. You can keep watching that over and over again and see so many things you miss because they jam-pack so many things into that song.
And what's interesting is that this is an episode written by Ed Valentine, who I would say is more known for writing good emotional, episodes that tug on your heartstrings or are good at just dealing with the emotion of a scene and that. But this shows like a completely different side to him where we actually get to see him just go absolutely fucking nuts, and it's fantastic. And I actually hope A, he comes back, and B, that he gets the chance to do something like this again. And
you also have to keep in mind the song scene. While he did a lot of the lyrics for it, a lot of the visuals probably weren't even done by Ed Valentine. A lot of that stuff is probably the storyboarders,
the animators,
mainly the storyboarders, since they're the ones who plan out visually how the episode looks.
Plan what they want to say.
But so they, you gotta give them a lot of props for the ones who storyboarded that song, just how much they were able to cram in there. And it's a very visually pleasing song too. It isn't like one of those songs that the song may be really good, maybe the visuals are a little bland or anything. This one keeps you very much engaged for the entire song.
I'd say the visuals are probably stronger than the song itself, but that's not saying the song's bad. I'm just saying that the visuals I think the visuals improve the song rather than necessarily detract from it or anything.
Yeah. And speaking of animation, just some other things for animation wise, that Crystal Empire fucking hype train that Cadence arrives on, it's just like, what the fuck is that?
Oh, actually, no, I just love the way she gets it introduced. It's like, yeah, we'll just have a nice quiet time together. And she gets, it's like a a royal state visit basically, even though she's just going to see her her old friend.
Mm-hmm.
Still think the funniest thing is having Flash there. Just basically is a big fuck you to certain people.
Yeah,
it's like. I just find that hilarious.
And they still didn't, do anything with him or in any of the episodes going. He's not a part of the series still, but just stick him in there in the background just to mess with people.
I'm still shocked they never used him in the 100th episode, considering it was written by considering that was written by last one.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity, but never mind.
He should have gotten his own song in that episode.
200th episode, twist and Flash Century episode, make it happen.
Shipping episode?
No, that would be a bit creepy, but considering the age
difference. It is Flash.
But
also, this is the episode that started really the whole Applejack eyebrow raise as well.
Oh boy! Yeah. Of course, we have to get. We can't talk about this episode without mentioning that.
I can never unsee that without immediately hearing that German yodeling in the background.
Oh my god, that whole video is just so best video. 10 out of 10.
Thank you for reminding me of that. I have to go download that now.
I'm probably forgetting what video this is. I probably have seen it, but
It's the one where Applejack raises her eyebrow and then it just keeps going up, and eventually it just starts traveling across Equestria in front of different scenes.
I have seen that. Yes. No, I have seen that. Yes. Actually, I think that isn't that one of our offline videos amongst like the millions that we've got on our site at the moment.
It was at one point. I don't know if it's still there or not.
I think we still. I don't know if it's just the eyebrows or the video.
Because I know we have one of just AJ raising her eyebrow, but we had the video in there at one point as well. But that was really the first time that's happened, and then we've seen her do that in multiple episodes subsequent of this one. Just, it's very definite eyebrow raise.
Miss I can go ahead and throw the link in the chat room if y'all don't mind.
I don't care.
I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll just toss it in here, just in case for whatever reason if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about.
The Adventures of Applejack's Eyebrow. Even the title was fantastic. Yeah.
As I mentioned before, the
goes on better adventure.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, the whole song sequence had just really good storyboarding and animation just throughout it, and cramming that much visually into that amount of time is no small feat, while still making it sort of coherent, and makes its rewatch value be very high. I really particularly like the lighting during the sort of interlude it has, like in the later middle part of the song where Twilight and Discord are having this like dance under this dark room with the spotlight on them. The lighting there is really well done, as well as the animation. Oh, and also there's the later in that song, there's also the part where Discord swaps Twilight and Cadence's mains as well.
Oh God, that was just freaky.
That was great.
Yeah, when you pause, you can see him bald.
Also, I don't know if anyone ever did this, but when we first see Discord appear with the blue flow, was I in my head? I was like, no. That old Discord was turning into a Smurf.
Oh God, please no.
Now I'm imagining John Delancey going la 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 la.
Hey, at least John Delancey didn't like take a job as playing shit, so. Oh gosh.
He could balance it out by playing Starswell the Bearded.
Please, I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you for that, Patrick Stewart.
I'll even watch the Emoji Movie.
No, I won't. No, thank you.
I'd see my unlimited card. I wouldn't actually be like paying any actual additional money to go see it.
Or save it for refs.
No. Nope.
Okay, well we definitely know what we're going to be doing in future then for CQ Riffs then.
Breadwinners Part 2.
Yep. No.
Yep, Breadwinners Part 2 it is then.
Emoji Movie it is.
We're going to have the Emoji Movie and Breadwinners on split screen side by side. And the whole audio track would just be us going, no, make it stop, please, no.
Hey, who's to say I don't just like record me just making like a few general comments now and again, and then I just wander off and play Breath of the Wild.
Matt, this is the 6th time tonight you've said, "Give me a second, I'm making tea." Why do you keep saying that?
Why are you saying good day, mate? I thought you were English.
Good day. Anything else for
I hate this movie. It's terrible. You said that the 17th time, Matt.
but I hate this movie. It's terrible. Anything else for animation or humor before we move on here? I think we touched on most of the major stuff. Get this set
I
up.
love the size of the freaking chariot that Discord makes Twilight and
Yeah.
Cadence carry as well. Was it solid gold as well, or was it just?
It looks like it, yeah.
I don't know. It was ornate. Let's
What
just
a
say
dick.
that.
Let's say Twilight Discord just kind of giving this line to Twilight. It was like, why the angry eyes? You love passing tests.
And I guess it goes back to the banter they have between them is so great. It was very well written too. If there's one thing I can credit Ed Valentine for in this episode was just the writing of the banter between the two of them was so spot on and hilarious.
This is why I want to see a Trixie Discord Twilight episode. Just the snark levels would be off the scale.
Too much snark.
Let's say like right at the very end when like after Discord gets sick for Applejack's like, I don't want to go saying what you got what you deserved, and then Rarity just jumps in and is like, well, I have no problem saying it. You got what you deserved. And just giving them both barrels. Why don't you, Rarity?
Yeah, she was generously giving it with both barrels.
Okay, let's see. We can move on to the song music number. So yeah, this season kind of has quite a few songs compacted into this part of the season. We've had quite a few the past 5 episodes that we've gone through.
Compared to season 6 and in season 7 as well.
Yeah,
there was a lot more songs this season.
And there's a little bit less in the second half of the season, I believe. But it's just this one part of the season has so many episodes with songs crammed into the that area. It's crazy. And this one's quite a different song than what we've gotten from the series in the past. And even
I bet John Delancey never expected when he got that call to do the opening 2-parter of MLP. Oh, by the way, later on, not only are you going to get massively popular again from doing this show for little girls, we're going to want you back, and we're going to want you to sing.
And it's a really good kind of song for that as well. With he's kind of sort of singing and sort of talk, like talking like a poem or something like that. So it's a nice little combination. She's not doing some big Broadway number.
I'm glad that they actually got John Delancey to sing and not someone else to sing on behalf of him. If you know what I mean. Because I know you could say, well, a lot of the other characters have that. I mean, obviously, Twilight has a singing, a different singing VA, and so does Pinky most of the time, and so does Rarity, and so on.
At that point,
I don't think it'd be the same without having John Delancey do it. Just the sheer novelty of having John Delancey.
Yeah, at that point, what's the point of giving Discord a song if you're not going to have him sing it? Because that's part of the joke.
I remember John Delancey often states though that just for this he had to have his wife teach him how to sing, as he's often joked, people pay him not to sing.
But they kind of crafted the song in such a way where he's sort of sing, but sort of not, but it still sounds good. If you get what I'm getting at there, he's not like being like an operatic singer.
It's not like it's not a sing-songy.
Yeah.
Sort. It's him sort of talking with a melodic. Trying teeth in. It's sort of a more melodic way sort of thing. It's not 100% singing while it's not singing, if you know what I mean. I'm finding it hard to explain. They do it. They let's just say like this. They try and make it as easy for him as possible without, because obviously he probably wouldn't. Let's just say he probably wouldn't be able to hit a high C. Let's just say that sort of thing.
Yeah, he nails that last note though in the song.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the. Let me make sure I get this selected. So here is that glass of water here. Just probably one of the most irrelevant songs of the entire series. But it's John Delancey, singing his Discordant episode. So how can you knock it? I think I do remember Stefan Andrews and Ingram talking about how it was a challenging song to write as well, just because it isn't like a lot of songs where you have a very strict melody and strict tempo and everything. This fluctuates so much throughout it, especially the tempo, along with with the dialogue. So you hear it picking up and slowing down very very deliberately throughout it, leading to the big finish where the tempo just goes off the off the scale there and really picks up at the end, which is something that's a lot easier to do if you're recording a live orchestra, but when you're actually doing this synthesized and you have to put all those tempo ramps up and down in there manually and make it sound believable and realistic. They did a good job of doing that.
You know what this song was missing? It needed a rap breakdown with Pinkie Pie and Discord.
Oh,
well, we kind of get that next season. Or no, it's later this season. Or is that? Yeah, it's later this season. Can't wait till we get to that. But I really like the orchestration for that song. It's very well done, and just you gotta love that. You gotta love Discord singing. So from that, we'll go to the backing.
I now want to Fluttershy and Discord duet.
God, of course you do.
Hey, they could do a parody of I Can Show You the World.
Let's see. So we have a few songs in terms of the backing score here. So let me see if I can remember which one is here. So we'll start right from the beginning here. I believe what is this? Let me pull up my notes on it, because or else I'm not gonna be able to know what each of these tracks is. Oh, come on. Three's a crowd. So this episode starts out with, of course, with Twilight waiting to get a letter from Cadence saying that she's able to come down. I believe there's a theme in here. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. So this song starts out with the trees motif, the Ponyville Library motif that we've heard before in the series, and makes a big appearance next season for Make This in the Make This Castle Home episode there, where Twilight obviously spends a lot of time moping over the loss of of her old home and kind of adapting to her new home. So you'll hear that a lot, this motif a lot in that episode next season. Also have one of Fluttershy's motifs there, as she's talking. And also some frantic Pinkie Pie score there. So this next one has a couple things in it. This is both Fluttershy departing and Cadance arriving at the train station, so we'll have some stuff for the trains. We also can hear the Crystal Empire score as well when Cadance arrives near the end of this track.
I like trains. There's the train, the Crystal Empire train coming in. Get a little fanfare here, and here comes the Crystal Empire score. A couple of different musical cues in here that we'll hear farther in future seasons as well. I'm just going to play the beginning of this next one because this one features one of Discord's couple of motifs that he has. This one, I believe this one starts out with the more mischievous theme that accompanies him in a lot of his episodes. Just kind of starts and continues from there. But that one there starts that track off. As we get to the Star Swirl Museum, we have something that sounds more like a Renaissance-style piece of score before Discord enters. And we get another one of his motifs. This one is kind of the bouncy carousel sort of style of score that he has.
Got to get the sappy violin here for Discord. There's the carousel, his carousel kind of motif that he also has as part of his score repertoire. This next one's short, but it has a nice piece of score that leads into the song. And from there, fast forwarding a little bit in the episode, we get to the big Tatsuworm boss fight at the end of the episode here. So we get a lot more action-oriented score from this one. Now we got the Tatsuworm appearing here. And that particular piece of action cue there in that score was originally from the Season 3 premiere. So now we found out that Discord was actually faking the entire time. This next piece of score kind of culminates the reveal of that, as well as Cadence admitting that she actually really had a good time with Twilight after all in the end. So we start with a little more Discord music here. That leads us to the final track, which is a lesson motif, which then ends in a nice little musical callback to the Glass of Water song as Discord drops that line at the very end. And this particular lesson motif was we last heard in At the End of Rarity Takes Manhattan. There's one of Fluttershy's motifs there.
I was just wondering, could I trouble you for just one?
AKA best motif.
And then the episode ends there with that little musical callback to the Glass of Water song as he says Glass of Water again. Okay, so that's all the score for the episode. What does everyone think of the episode's theme and the moral for the episode?
Pretty much, just because your plans with a friend just kind of go up in smoke doesn't mean that you can't still enjoy spending time together, because in the end, that's basically all that's important. Also, don't be a dick.
I was just gonna say, don't be a dick. Damn it, you spoilt my thunder.
Sorry.
Yeah,
But
don't be a
basically the
dipcord.
main thing. The dipcord. Oh god, that image is amazing.
Look at that giant box of tissues.
Sneezer brand as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also, if you want to find out if someone's your friend, probably faking that you're sick and seeing if they'll take care of you is the best way.
I don't know, I probably worked with Fluttershy.
I don't know. If she finds out you're not sick, she might get a little angry.
What's she gonna do? But, you know,
Gonna give you the stare.
By my... We've learned that don't work with Discord, though. No, no. Fluttershy has the ultimate weapon. She'd sick Angel Bunny on him.
It'd be like the scene from Monty Python there.
No, I was thinking more like it's like when you throw one of those cuckoos at an enemy in Breath of the Wild. It'd be like that.
Well, hundreds more angel bunnies come out of the woodwork and just all start attacking.
Yes.
Or 1,000 hundreds.
Yes. Oh gosh. So favorite parts for the episode, and any concerns anyone has lingering for it.
I now want to see someone do an animation where you have someone throw a Scootaloo at somebody and then loads of Scootaloos come and attack them. Someone's got to do that now.
But make the person getting attacked be like Rainbow Dash and just have all those Scootaloos pop up. Hey Rainbow Dash! Hey Rainbow Dash! Hey Rainbow Dash! Hey Rainbow Dash! I loved the humor in this episode, especially the song, and the visuals in the song. Definitely, that's probably the biggest thing. I like the tie-in to the future stories, both with the finale and the Breezy episode, which obviously Megan McCarthy's story editor this season played a big part in getting those in. But really, just the humor and just having a wacky, or first really like wacky Discord episode of just him being himself was really fun to watch.
I'll just say it was a good palate cleanser for an episode from the episode before, which I genuinely just did not like. You know, I mean, we all have episodes of shows that we do love that, you know, you think may not necessarily be that great. Let me put it like this: the previous episode, Rainbow Falls, to me is a bit like that's Lobstertainment from Futurama. I still love the show, but I can still tell you that episode sucked balls. And to be honest, I still didn't like Rainbow Falls personally, but this was a good palate cleanser from that, and you know, it was just good fun, and that's, you know. It was probably the best way for them to sort of, you know, I wouldn't say redeem, but more it was a good change. It was a good change of pace from what we had from, you know, what was essentially a key episode to this. You know, it was just good, silly fun.
So there we go. So overall feelings and any final thoughts, conclusions for Three's a Crowd.
Don't put a taser worm in your mouth.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. Yeah, it was just a fun, enjoyable episode. I think this is probably the highest density, definitely at the time, and probably even since then, in terms of references. Discord episodes always have a lot of different references in them, but this one probably had the highest density of pop culture references. The show definitely seems to use Discord episodes as a way to throw in funny pop culture references that, you know, otherwise they really usually don't show or don't throw into many other episodes of the show. It's not something the show does a lot of in terms of that density of them. I think it's kind of an excuse to do it in this episode. So, any other final thoughts? Anyone?
Like I mentioned in the chat room, Discord kind of reminds me a lot of the genie from Aladdin, in the sense that he, like you mentioned, he seems to act as kind of like an excuse to give the creative team an excuse to really go hog wild with like pop culture references and everything that they otherwise probably wouldn't be able to get away with in the actual show proper.
Yeah. And it just makes sense coming from Discord. I mean, like, you know, Pinkie Pie breaks the fourth wall a lot, but of all the characters in the show, if there was a character that was going to be kind of breaking the fourth wall and doing all these real life references, Discord just seems to be the obvious choice. Okay. Well, with that, thank you all so much for joining us for this Equine Episode Examination for Three is a Crowd. Finally got to do it, Discord problems and all. But next week, we got a big episode coming up next week. Finally, we're going to be getting to our second musical episode of this series with Pinkie Pride, which of course has a lot of stuff to talk about, both in terms of it being a musical episode and of a certain guest star that appears in said episode, as well as just kind of the characterization it provides with Pinkie Pie, and it's also a key episode. So it's a lot of stuff in this next episode. And it's
one of my favourite episodes of the entire show.
Yeah.
So fucking good.
So just like, a lot to talk. I mean, just like I'm a little afraid how long next week's episode is going to go, because
it'll just be rain shadows gushing over it.
But it's just like I mean, there's so much to talk about in terms of it being a key episode. So everything relating to that, with everything with Weird Al, with all of Pinkie Pie's characterization and character development and building in it. Of course, it has like 6 songs in it that we all have to go through, and the score in between each of those songs. So yeah, it's gonna be a long one. So dig in, folks.
I guess I better be thankful that have my my training class tomorrow as opposed to next Wednesday.
Hey, I guess it's good that we had to delay this episode a week, or else that would have been today.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? Guess what? I made it to the end of an episode of Triple A.
Hey!
there is a cheat, considering it's only a 4-hour difference in time zones at the moment, because our clocks haven't gone forward
Gosh, what
yet.
a cheater! First you cheat at Zelda with that rupee, that rupee contest thing, and now you're cheating with
It's
your
not
clocks.
cheating. It was exploiting what was in the game. It's not
Yeah.
actually a cheat. I'm not putting any codes in.
Oh gosh. Well, anyway, thank you all so much for joining us for Equine Episode Examination here, and we will see you next week for episode 80. Oh, that's convenient. Episode 80 next week for Pinky Pride. So, thank you all for joining us, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Later, folks.
See ya.
Bye.